No way they do this, as an NHL insider reveals a shocking St. Louis Blues trade update surrounding a fan favorite as Doug Armstrong continues into this offseason looking to fill the need at center. We're going to break down all the reports on this player, the reports coming from insiders linking him to an Eastern Conference team, and so much more, including a little snippet on the draft. And you're not going to want to miss any of this. Before we get into that, Blues fans, we just want to give a huge shout out. The support you have been giving us has been phenomenal. We started this channel yesterday and we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. We want to give a huge shout out to you guys. And if you're watching this and you haven't hit the subscribe button, we're trying to reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. We know Blues fans, we're all sickos, so be a sicko, go down and hit that subscribe button. Well, we're going to hop straight into these reports today, where we did see a little snippet from Doug Armstrong first, where he was talking on wanting to go out to get a second line center. He said if we make a trade, it'll be an apple for apple. Sounds like if team wants Jordan Kyrou, the offer would have to be a young, high-skilled center. And this doesn't even stop there. We got this snippet going into the second round. This is being recorded just in the second round of the draft right now. So if you're watching this later and a trade already happened, go down and let us know the return. But it does continue on where Pierre LeBrun on insider trading said Montreal hopes not to be done. They would like to add a top six up front. It's hard to find a number two center. They're open up that perhaps a Jordan Kyrou is a player that Montreal is among several teams that have shown interest. He's got a long-term deal, 6 more years, over $8 million a year. What is your overall thought on this, Darius? I mean, we're looking at Jordan Kyrou, a very high-skilled winger that fits this team well, but if Doug Armstrong is looking to buy a center in this market where every other team except for the Pittsburgh Penguins are buying, it might cost Jordan Kyrou at the end of the day.
So this is a confusing one because if you need a center, you should not be trading with the Montreal Canadiens because the Montreal Canadiens also need a center. But the Montreal Canadiens are trying to fast track their rebuild. Obviously, they just acquired Noah Dobson, who is also linked to the St. Louis Blues. It looked like it was down to the Montreal Canadiens or the St. Louis Blues. Also, the Columbus Blue Jackets were kind of in the mix as well, which I think is interesting. But if you need a center, you're not going to the Montreal Canadiens, but you could use some defense. We've been talking about defense the last little while, and there is a rumor out there that maybe it's Mike Matheson from the Montreal Canadiens. And listen, don't punch your TV set yet. Don't punch your computer monitor or throw your phone away now that I said that. I don't think that's a good move either. That makes absolutely no sense for the Montreal or for the St. Louis Blues in that case. But they just got Noah Dobson. So I wonder if you look at their prospect pool and you go, you want a scoring winger from us? Okay, we want a right shot defenseman. Then we want Reinbacher or something like that. That I think is a little bit more fair to me. That you're getting an established NHL scoring winger. And we've been talking about that maybe Snuggerud can come in and fill that role. Maybe not immediately, but at some point. But I think the Blues would have to go out and make some type of move. And if they want a center, then they're going to have to call another team because that doesn't make too much sense. So this one's a little bit of a confusing one. There's so many rumors flying around there right now. And there is a lot of smoke right now. I do want to say a lot of people, and we've seen you guys in the comments, there's a lot of people that do want Kyrou traded. There's a lot of you that don't. It's honestly 50-50. And again, your support on the channel has been unbelievable. I don't want to understate that. But it's 50-50 right now in terms of what fans want, but I think there is some smoke there. I do think that Doug Armstrong is looking at Kyrou and goes, listen, we can get a lot of value right now because a lot of teams are willing to make moves right now this weekend. And if we don't by July 1st, we've made our bed. He is a St. Louis Blues. So I think it's interesting. If you're trading Kyrou, especially with the Canadiens, you need to try and get a defenseman back because they're not the team you're looking for a center for. But I do think Doug Armstrong is in the market for a center.
And I mean, you kind of alluded to, and I've seen the comment every time we say allude, take a shot, get the bottle ready, because we say it a lot. But going into this team, we've seen last night they added another winger in Justin Carpenter. We did an awesome video on that yesterday. Go check that out. But it seems like Doug Armstrong has built the wings of this team in Kyrou, Buchnevich, Snuggerud. You can work your way down. Even Dylan Holloway, who was the best offer sheet probably of all time, or in the past 10 years at least. But looking at Carbonneau coming in, there's a chance that Carbonneau is the replacement. It's going to take a few years. It's not going to be next year, but maybe in 2 to 3 years from now, we see Carbonneau jump into this team. The second line center position is what this team needs. Schenn would move down, and you'd have a great 3-man punch down the middle. And this is from Puckpedia. I know Dylan Holloway's not going to be playing center. He's going to be in the top 6. but that does open room. If you move on from Jordan Kyrou, Dylan Holloway jumps into this top six. You see Shen come down. Darius, call me crazy, but this team on paper with three centers down the middle, and I do think they can still get away with the centers they have, but with a new young center coming in, if they make this trade, when you get a guy like Carbonell into this lineup, does this not look like the perfect mold of a team going into the playoffs?
It does. It would look fantastic. And again, some of these guys are a couple years away. We have to keep that in mind, right? So if you are trading a Jordan Kyrou, you're going to miss that point production, I think, for the next year, at least the next year. And the defense core is getting a little bit older. But like you said, if you have a three-headed monster where now Braden Shen is able to move down to the third line center position and play that role, which we know, I mean, Braden Shen, when you get to the playoffs, I mean, this guy's unbelievable. So, and you obviously have Robert Thomas, first line center. He's been unbelievable as well. It just lengthens your lineup. The wings are automatically better. Neighbors has been, fantastic for the team as well. I don't think the top six is going to change too much. Snuggeroo was fantastic. And I mean, I think he overperformed what a lot of people, especially from the outside looking in, thought he would in the playoffs even. So you have some really, really good depth. You also have a couple, like there's a couple of guys who aren't signed yet that aren't on this screenshot. And obviously Holloway, like you mentioned, won't be playing center, but they have potential here to really lengthen this lineup and going into the playoffs. Maybe you don't need a 70-point getter in the playoffs if he's not scoring in the playoffs, right? So things are going to get very interesting here. Again, a lot of this is just rumors at this point, but some insiders are floating a lot of this stuff out there this weekend. A lot of teams are very active. We see a lot of teams like the Pittsburgh Penguins, for example, making some questionable moves. Maybe you take advantage of that, right? Not saying you get Malkin or anything like that, but maybe you go try and find a center this weekend because teams are acting a little reactionary.
Because looking at the future of the team, we know what they have. They just took the President's Trophy to Game 7 of the first round. Now, listen, the Winnipeg Jets, they stink. They have a fraud in net. But nothing against that, where we see this young team making a push. You have a bunch of forward prospects. We know they're going to have to go out and get someone defensively in this draft. They're probably going to look at a couple bigger defensemen that can slowly come in. Adam Juracek is a guy that's going to join this team in the years to come, but we're going to touch on this quickly, Darius. We know this team has a 5th and 6th round pick. You might be watching this after they already selected, but looking at the future of this team, do you think Doug Armstrong is going to go out and maybe try to find 2 hidden gems in those late rounds that could fill in on defense in the next couple of seasons?
Definitely. And a lot of people are wondering, what are the Blues going to do with the rest of their draft picks in this draft? And again, at the time you're watching this, they probably already made these picks, but as we're recording this, they have not, right? But obviously you're filling in the wings. You know what you have on the wings. Snuggeroo is already on the team. They just, drafted Carbonell last night. So that, you are pretty solidified in terms of that heading forward. You have, center depth in terms of prospects as well. We know that. So I think it is defense at this point. Like you mentioned, Juracek is on the way and he's going to be a great right shot defenseman for this team. But I think you continue, at least through the draft, to as you get later in the rounds, of course, if it was a first or second round, you take the best player available. I do truly believe that. And then you could trade them down the road for a position of need if you need that. But later in the draft, I think they're going to, you should probably go after defense at this point, because when you look around the prospect pool, you have center depth and promising center depth. Again, it's just not that they're going to make the team anytime soon. And then obviously you have help coming on the wings as well. So I think it is the defense.
But Blues fans, what is your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Jordan Kyrou being linked to several teams, or seeing teams putting interest out on the young winger? They have until July 1st before his no movement clause kicks in. We know how much Doug Armstrong wants to go out to get the second line center. Is this something you would entertain, moving Kyrou for a solidified young center to join this team? And what do you think they do with their picks 5th and 6th, or the 5th and 6th round, I should say? Go down and leave a comment. And if they've already drafted them, let us know who they drafted and your thoughts on them. We'll be covering all of that, so make sure to hit the subscribe button. Once again, thank you so much, Blues fans. The growth has been insane. You guys are showing us that you truly love this team, and we're so excited to bring you coverage all off season into next season, and you're not going to want to miss any of it. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host Darius, and take care, Blues fans.